you're a woman in the audience, what does that mean to you to be a woman? And then to have the audacity to dream. Just think about that word for just a second, because when we get towards the end of the presentation, I'm going to break it down for you. Exactly what that word audacity means. We ready? We ready to say hey?
Hey!
Right. So let's start with Dr. King. Dr. King, one of his speeches was, I have a dream, right? And so all of us, most of us, I should say all of us, have heard the speech, whether it was in bits and pieces or parts, but we heard the speech. And so we kind of know what it means when he talks about having a dream, right? His was about equality. He definitely was looking for equal rights, right? Not just for a few people, but for everybody. So I have something for you all to do. Want to know what it is? Glad you asked. It is a test your knowledge. So, if you feel like you know the answer, just shout it out. You don't have to raise your hand. If this was my classroom, I won't make you raise your hand. Since it's a presentation, just shout out the answer if you think you know it. When was Dr. King born? Say it louder.
The year 1929.
She said 1929. What day?
January 15th.
No, he was born January 15th. See, I was going to see who's going to catch it. None of y'all caught that, see?
That's tax
January
day.
15th, 1929. There might be some more tricks in there. So, how old was he when he became a minister? Close.
22.
23.
Close. Go back down.
18.
17. He became a licensed minister at the age of 18. He began to do his first, he became an ordained minister at 17. He began to preach at 19. Ready for another question? What was the name of the church that he pastored in Montgomery, Alabama? Think about Ebenezer. Where's that?
Ebenezer.
Think about where it is. So this is in Montgomery, Alabama. Any guesses? Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. Okay. Who's learning something today? Me. So now after this is over with, I want you to go to starkstate.edu, sign up to become a student, register for all of my classes. Okay, what about this? How old was he when he received the Nobel Peace Prize?
16.
No, 16. I heard the answer. 35. 35 years of age. All right, so who assassinated him?
What's that guy's name?
So let's just say technically, who assassinated him? I heard the answer. James Earl Ray. All right, there's more. What day was he killed? April 4th, 1968. All right. Where was he killed? Memphis. What was the name of the place?
Lorraine Hotel.
He was on the balcony of the Lorraine Hotel. Definitely need to sign up for my class. You all are smart. All right, and I think this is the last one. So where is his burial site located?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Heard Atlanta, Georgia. Any specifics?
King Center.
The National Historical Park, right? So the Martin Luther King Historical Park in Atlanta. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. Okay. So when I started thinking about doing this presentation today, I thought about the dream. And so as I went through the speech and I read it and I read it and I read it, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to keep it in the same vein, but I also wanted to be able to diverge a little bit. And so I started thinking about a few of the quotes, some of the phrases from his speech. And so when he talked about having a dream, he said, one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. So which word do you think?
Men.
I got stuck on it. All men are created equal. I almost wanted to put a W-O in front of that, right? And then it says some sons of slaves, and the sons of slaveholders can sit down at the table of brotherhood. Sons, we have brothers, men. I was still looking for me in there, so I had to keep going. He said our nation's children would not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. I put myself in there. He didn't say DaNeen, or he didn't say woman, but I kind of put myself in that one. Then he said we will be able to transform jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. When freedom rings, black men, white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants, Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of that old Negro spiritual.
Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty for free at last.
And so for a woman, that meant a lot. And so as a woman, especially as a black woman, I had to think about what did that really mean to me. So I couldn't focus on the whole son and brotherhood and men. I couldn't focus on that anymore. So I had to kind of just turn my attention somewhere else. So this is Sojourner Truth. How many of you never heard of Truth? Okay. She, abolitionist. She had a very powerful connection to Akron, Ohio. So she was born Isabella Bumfree in 1797. She bore 13 children. So think about her life, 13 children. She was a woman's rights activist and author, born into slavery, but then she was able to escape and to be able to gain her freedom. What's significant about Sojourner, she was the first black woman to go to court and to be able to win a court case against a white man. That court case was her getting custody or regaining custody of a son that was illegally sold into slavery. So she attended Ohio's Women's Rights Convention here in Akron, Ohio. How many of you know that the old Jobs and Family Services building named for Sojourner Truth? And there she delivered a powerful speech. The speech was called Ain't I a Woman? So I want to share a little bit of that with you and see if you can relate, see if it resonates with you. No, some shaking. She said, that man over there, he said a woman needs to be helped in the carriages and lifted over ditches. And they have the best places everywhere. Nobody helped me into a carriage or carried me over a ditch or gave me the best places to stay. But ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arms. I plowed, I planted, and I gathered into barns, and no man could hit me. Ain't I a woman? I could work as much, I could eat as much when I could get it. I could bear the lash as well, but ain't I a woman? I've borne 13 children and seen most of them sold into slavery. And when I cried out a mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. But ain't I a woman? That little man back there in black, he says women don't have much say as when it comes to rights as a man, because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Jesus, where did your Christ come from? My mouth's loud enough. So I'm gonna start that one over again. She said, ain't I a woman? See that little man over there in black? He says a woman can't have as much rights as a man, because Christ wasn't a woman. So where did your Christ come from? From God and from a woman. First, if the first person God ever brought into this world made her strong enough to turn this world upside down, then surely he created women to bring it back, to turn it right side up again. And I think men ought to give women the opportunity to do it. Ain't I?
Amen.
Miseducation of black women. Maybe wondering where I'm going with that. But I gotta put this little subcategory caption underneath there because sometimes women, we tend to be stereotyped, ridiculed, defamed, seen as the weaker or the lesser species. But I had to live by this creed. It's not what you call me, it's what I answer to that matters. So let's look at what I have here for you today. How many of you remember seeing this picture? Nobody? Okay. So when we saw this picture, there was a whole bunch of controversy about her hair. So when it comes to black women and their hair, we've dealt with you can't wear your hair like that in its natural state. You have to conform to make it different, right? Because somehow it's offensive to someone's sensibilities. This little child, the first one, the picture that I'm showing you, she was a model for HM. And she had just come home from school. And she went to the modeling session. And so they took a picture of her in her natural state. And when that picture hit the World Wide Web, she was ridiculed. HM was ridiculed. They felt as though it was absolutely disgusting to allow this child to wear her hair like that. Why didn't you comb her hair? Why are you allowed to wear her hair messy? Right? When I came home from school, my mother's right here. I probably looked like that 95% of the time. Had holes in my knees. One of my classmates, he had holes in my pants. Right? It was rough. Right? That was our natural state. And so for us, we have to give our young girls, which are going to be women, we have to give them a different narrative. If this is how God allowed your hair to grow out of your head, that should be good enough. Because then when we see the other images, these are messy hairs, right? Yes. Messy hairstyles. But where's the critique? Where's the criticism? Where's the ridicule? Have you all seen these pictures? No. So for our society, it's an issue. So this is what HM said. They said there are present comments regarding our model for HM kids. We truly believe that all kids should be allowed to be kids. Let me say that one more time. All kids should be allowed to be kids. So school-age kids who model for us come to the photo studios in the afternoon after school. We aim for that natural look, which reflects that. In many instances, black women are body shamed. In many instances, we are shamed for how we look. So I'm going to go through a couple of those looks. Gabby Douglas, controversy. Venus and Serena Williams, controversy. What about Flojo? Florence Griffith Joyner, controversy. And what about Wilma Rudolph? And so the issue is, you should not wear your hair in its natural state. It's not acceptable. It's not pleasing to the eye. So here's their idea of cultural conformity, assimilation. And so you see Gabby Douglas. It's not in her natural state, but it's acceptable. And then also you see Flojo. Flojo is flowing, right? And then you see Venus and Serena Williams. And then lastly, so what's unacceptable about allowing these women to participate in society in their natural state? So here's cultural appropriation. How many of you have never heard that term? Okay, so cultural appropriation or cultural appreciation. I'm gonna let you decide the difference. So it can be defined as what we call cherry picking. So basically you're deciding or selecting certain aspects of a particular culture and you're ignoring the original significance for the purpose of belittling it as a trend, right? And so appreciation is honoring that culture, respecting it, and then also respecting the practices to gain knowledge and understanding. Let me show you this image. So the two gentlemen at the bottom, yeah, you all know the lace front babies. Yeah, that's what they have on. And so this is a modeling show, fashion show. And so these men were given these wigs to wear as a statement, right? A profound statement. And then also we have images of other women who wear braids, as most young black girls did, because we had to make sure our hair stayed in a position or in a state that depreciation or cultural appropriation? Would they be asked to go home from work, change their hair? Would they be rejected for a job? Would they be allowed to not be in the limelight or the spotlight because they have those braids? Cultural appropriation. Let's talk about black women's bodies. Who's these two ladies? Famous actresses who were body shamed, right? Both of them have put themselves in a situation or position where they wanted to alter the state of their body, whether it was through surgery or through a whole lot of work, in order to be able to make their bodies acceptable in society. Let's take a look at this. First image right here. I pulled this off a website that was listed for full figure models.
Sorry.
I couldn't understand what was so full figure about that picture, right? And so we know that we're giving all these false images, especially as women. We're giving these false expectations that we're supposed to uphold, that we're supposed to live up to, right? They tell us what our body should look like, right? Your waist should be so thin, your legs should be so long, right? Well, who's giving us that standard? And why are we living up to it? Somebody said, usually men. I'm gonna leave that one. But why are we living up to that standard? We have situations like this. We have the media. We also have a society, an unforgiving society in some instances, that won't allow us to just be who we are. Who's this one right here? Lizzo. What do you know about Lizzo? Controversial. She does a lot of controversial things. Right? The last thing she did, she wore some clothing, let's say, or less clothing, to a basketball game. And let's just say the part of her that people will see when she's walking away was the part that they saw when she was walking away. Right? And so of course she was body shamed for it. But for Lizzo, her thing is, listen, I am who I am. I am comfortable in my own skin. And so whether I'm a full figure woman, whether I'm size 3, I can only be me. And I'm gonna love every part of it. And so that's how we should be as women. Ever seen these images? This one right here. Kim Kardashian. What can we say about that picture? Interesting, to say the least, right? And so she's praised, talked about, and not in a bad way, but a good way, about certain aspects of her body. And so then I turn your attention to this lady here. Her name is Sarah Bartman. They call her Hot and Top Venus. And so she was ridiculed because of her body. This is, of course, a drawing of Sarah Bartman. But this is an idea as to what she looked like back then. The sad part about this thing is that she was exploded. She was put on display. After she died at a very young age, her body was rightfully taken from her family members and it was put on display. Scientists dissected inches and places on her body so they could be able to understand how certain parts grew the way that they did. Eventually, right, maybe 10, 15, no, it might be like 15 years ago, her body was rightfully given back to her family, which allowed her to have a respectable burial. So let's look at these pictures. To the extent to which women are forced to alter their bodies so that we can appear acceptable for society. And I'm showing you these pictures because a lot of these women had surgical enhancements done to their bodies. I put this one on the end because it is extremely, extremely important. The woman that's on the end, she had her body injected with cement in order to create an appearance that was acceptable for society. So let's talk about women in education, politics, and the economy. So this is taking back our narrative. So I showed you all the negative things first. So I'm going to show you how black women stepped out and used the essence of King's Dream to be able to take back the narrative. So who's that? Oprah. Started from very humble beginnings. So let's talk about a little bit about her life. Born in rural poverty. When Oprah was about 14 years old, she became pregnant with the only child that she had. But unfortunately, sadly, that child died shortly after childbirth. He was premature. What's extraordinary about Oprah is that she became a millionaire by the age of 32. And I'm not just saying a millionaire. We're talking about a self-made millionaire. She's the first black woman billionaire that we have. And so, like I said, in 2014, she became the first self-made billionaire. And that's extraordinary for a black woman. Here's some other ladies that I wanted to highlight. So I said here that we stand on the shoulders of giants. So I have Mary McLeod Bethune. And so she was an educator, an activist, philanthropist, Ida B. Wells, activist, anti-lynching, and then also a civil rights activist. Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman to be elected into Congress in 1969. Angela Davis, an educator, activist, author. What do most of these women have in common? Educator, 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 activist. So we look at the legacy. This is some extraordinary statistics that I came across as I was conducting my research as I prepared for this presentation. And so I looked at women in higher education, more particularly black women in higher education. And so in 2009 and 2010, which I think is really extraordinary because I represent one of these classes of women who received a degree during that time frame. So of all black people that were awarded associate degrees, 68% of those degrees were awarded to black women. Then when we look at bachelor's degrees, of all black students, 66 were awarded to black women. Master's degrees, 71%. I felt proud about that stat because I was part of that master's degree in 2009, 2002. 65% of all doctoral degrees. And so we look at the trajectory of black women and how we're advancing with regard to education. So black women are highly educated. However, we still have to give an account to that income gap. And so we look at 8% of all private sector jobs are held by black women. If we look at how much black women make on the dollar as compared to white men, 64 cents. So for every dollar that a white male earns, black women earn 64 cents.
Phenomenal woman. Many people wonder where am I is. When I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes, the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist, the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, It ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palms of my hands, the need for my care, because I'm a woman, phenomenal woman. That's my mother and all your mothers, and my grandmothers, and your grandmothers, and my great-grandmothers, and your greats, and my great-greats, and all you women, and me.
The late great Maya Angelou. So somehow my technology kind of messed up a little bit because I had like a picture collage that should have went with that. But I have this poem for a very, very important reason is because I wanted to be able to highlight a phenomenal woman from our area. Her family is here with us today. This is Miss Helen E. Arnold. Stand up, absolutely, stand up. I was blessed to have the opportunity to come before you to speak about Miss Helen Arnold. I first was introduced to Miss Arnold through my brother. This is my brother, DaNeen Harrison. And so he was very, very, very good friends with one of her grandsons. And so as he would go over to Miss Arnold's home, most of the time I would tag along with him. And then my friend here, Otis, right in the back, I would always tag along over there because I was his friend. And then Adrian, I would tag along over there because I was her friend. And after a while, she became my grandmother too. So when people would say, "Is that your grandmother?" Mm-hmm. Sure is. Because we would eat good, right? She fed everybody, right? Had love for everybody. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her life and about her story. I can't tell her story better than the people who loved her most. So I'm going to do my best to provide insight and information to all of you about this phenomenal woman that we have here in Akron, Ohio. I also passed out a bio that gives you a lot more information because this was an extraordinary woman who did some incredible things. Just simply incredible for the time that she lived, and then also being a woman, and not just a woman, but a black woman. So be patient with me as I go through some of her accomplishments. So she was born in New Jersey on August the 2nd, 1942. Came from very, very humble beginnings. She is an Akron alum. She went to Leggett Elementary School, Central High School, and then also took classes at the University of Akron before eventually going on to get her cosmetology license. She was a proud mother.
24.
1924?
Yeah, 19.
I'm sorry, 1924. Did I say 42?
Yeah.
So dyslexic. 1924. All right. So she eventually went on to get her cosmetology license, but she was a proud mother. So a few of her children are here today. And so she had 9 children as I sat with her daughter and listened to her talk about her mother and just watch her glow about the way that she talked about her mother. And then as I looked at her, I could just see her mother coming out of her face. And I just kept telling her, you look just like your mother. Right? And so I just listened to the story because I wanted to be able to feel that before I got up here to tell you what I knew, tell her story through her daughter and then also through me to give it to you. And so even though she had 9 children, she took on more, right? So there was 2 that was not her biological children, but she took them in and raised them. If you were a cousin, right? If you were a niece, a nephew, play cousin, friend, didn't matter. She brought everybody in. I was reading one of her, a lot of her accomplishments, but one thing that I came across is she referred to her house as the orphanage. And I kind of stopped for a minute, but then I understood because she didn't reject anybody. She brought everybody in. Showed everybody enough love. She had enough love to go around where nobody felt as though they were being left out. She told me a story about the grateful mother. So hopefully some of you that are in the audience today, you will remember this story. Downtown where, I think there's a restaurant there now, but it used to be Polsky's, but it was O'Neill's. And if you're old enough to remember, young enough, depending on how you look at it, young enough to remember what happened during Christmas time. right? They would always have like these wonderful Christmas displays, and most people that lived in Akron would make sure that they brought their children downtown to see the wonder and the glory around this time. And so Miss Arnold happened to be there one day, and some male had dropped his wallet. And so she picked up the wallet, she raced over all throughout the store to find him to give him his wallet back.
Yes.
And so once she did give him the wallet back, he was so grateful to her that every Christmas for years, he would always make sure, anonymously, I can't say him, but anonymously, make sure that their family was awarded $300 so she could do something wonderful for her children. But what is extraordinary about Miss Arnold is that she never just did it for her children. It was her children, their friends, and their friends. If you had just met one of their children and they brought you home on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, she had a gift for you. That story rang true to me because my grandmother was the same way, right? She would probably start right after Christmas to buy gifts all year long to make sure nobody felt left out. And so some of you may remember seeing their family picture being posted in the newspaper, right? Because she was always thankful and grateful that she was able to do the things that she was able to do. So let me keep going and telling you more about Miss Helen Arnold. Tell you how she paid it forward. Her children were students in the Akron public school system. And so she was really invested in their education. She wanted to make sure that they got the best education that they could hope for. And so she started by becoming a PTA volunteer. And so she volunteered for the PTA, was heavily active, involved in education. Elected as the first Black woman for the Akron Board of Education. Not only was she elected as the first Black woman, but she went on to become the Akron Board of Education president. She served faithfully for 24 years. And what is extraordinary, she never missed one meeting. That's dedication. That's how invested she was in education. That's how invested she was in making sure that our children had the best. When I say she was an advocate and she was an activist, she fought for children. She wanted to make sure that they had the same type of education throughout the Akron public school systems. First Black woman also to run for city council. This is what this picture right here represents. And again, that's extraordinary. To run for city council, I don't know if any of you remember the date that was, the year.
I would say like 70, what,
1972 or 73? 73. Ran for councilperson in the city of Akron. Again, extraordinary. Again, her dedication to service. Ms. Arnold was an activist, community organizer, volunteer, entrepreneur. She had 2 businesses. And then also, I put this here. One of her greatest accomplishments was that she was a mother. And when I'm saying mother, I don't just mean mother to the children that she birthed, but a mother to the entire community. My brother can tell you a story about any time a situation happened at school, the last thing you wanted for Miss Arnold to come up to the school and handle that. That's the last thing that you wanted. So before I end with this, I want to pass the microphone to her daughter because I want her to be able to, want the family to introduce themselves and then also for them to tell you something important or something they want you to know about their mother. Okay. You can introduce your family members and the shy ones. I'm well.
They got the chocolate though.
Yes, they do got the coffee.
You're gonna get the mic back.
Good morning. I'm Donna, the baby of the family, and my brother Gary is here, and I have a couple sisters, Carla and Mona, and my niece Adrian, and Billy. You know, I'm gonna say little Billy, but he's Billy. So we're here to represent our family today, and thank you. I was gonna say a few words. I was just told this morning, and I didn't get prepared, but I'll just say you don't need too much preparation when it's your mother. So I was asked to say a few words about Helen Arnold. So let me just start with, she was a beautiful person, inside and out. She didn't mince words. If anybody knows her, she said what was exactly on her mind. If she could help you, she would help anyone. She believed in the children. She believed in no child left behind, you know. My remembrance of her is like mostly, you know, I had lived out of state and I come home and I lived with her for a while. And in the mornings and late nights, sometimes she would get phone calls about situations that was going on in the schools, and it didn't matter what time of the morning or the time of the night, Helen Arnold was on it, and if she couldn't take care of it, she definitely would get someone else to take care of it. She was tireless. She just didn't stop. She did everything that she could to help anyone. She belonged to many organizations. She never left out anything. She would always still be there for her kids and her family. She was just a great woman. I don't know what else to say about her. She had her restaurant business, clubs. She took care of all of us. It was 9 of us, and then some of our family members and friends. She took care of them. She just would do anything to help anyone. And you got a few words here?
Yes, I'm Gary. I'm the baby of the family now. My baby brother passed a few years ago. So I'm the baby. I let the baby all alone. They just don't appreciate it.
Oh, okay. He acts like a baby.
But I rather, you know, it's an old cliche that I always gather that I rather see a sermon than hear a sermon, you know. And my mother was a sermon, you know. You know, I can recall, I take myself like memory lane where my mom took me to Washington, D.C. with the mark of with Martin Luther King. And I always remember that, you know. Every time I think about that, because I was about 16 years old at that time. And we lived in this place called Resurrection City. And it was all tents all around this place. And my mom was up there with Mr. King and all them, I mean, big people. Yeah. And I always remember that. I said, my mom gave me and gave my family something to reach for. So what we try to do as a family, we try to give back the way my mom gave to the community. And we're going to continue to do what we do as a family. We just appreciate you all being here and listening to my mother's story. Thanks so much.
And one more thing, I don't know if it was mentioned, we have a foundation, Helen Arnold Foundation, which we got implemented maybe about 5 years ago. And what that does is that gives a child at the Helen Arnold Learning Center a certificate and an award every year for at least $500. But it's our goal to do it to more than one child, and then maybe as it grows to do it throughout the school system of Akron. So I just want to let you know that your name on at the Helen Arnold Foundation.
We need your support.
Yes, and of course. So you'll be hearing more about us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that takes me to my last slide about Miss Helen Arnold. And so, again, a phenomenal, extraordinary woman. To be a black woman in Akron, and she now has an elementary school named in her honor, which is the Helen Arnold Community Learning Center. I put the address here. It's 450 Burns Oldham Boulevard. It's connected to the Akron Urban League. And so again, you see education, activism, community outreach. And so this is what she was about, and this was her life. And so, again, she was published in 1985. She was contacted and told that her bio was going to be put in the Who's Who. And what I found extremely surprising, but I was delighted that the Who's Who is one book that is adopted by the Library of Congress. And so she's been added to that book. Also, if you go down to the juvenile court system, or juvenile court rather, you'll see her wall, her banner, and her picture on the wall. That was an honor that was bestowed upon her as well. And again, she has her foundation, and the goal is, again, to provide a scholarship so that children can be able to get that education that she fought so hard for her children.
Thank you.